And now it's time for us to share with you what the big stories are making, saying this morning on the front pages of the newspapers. We begin with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, the big story, powerful Nigerians involved in illegal mining, funding, banditry, terrorism. Wow. That's the big story, says powerful Nigerians involved in illegal mining, funding, banditry, and terrorism, according to the federal government. Very interesting update there. Now, away from the big story, we have sub-stories there. Ogun kicks off GRA regeneration, I beg your pardon, scheme. They begin the GRA regeneration scheme set to create modern cities in Abeokuta, Ijebu-Ode, and others. Still on the front page there, we have alleged food poisoning. Osun government orders full investigation on page 10. Affected students discharged from hospital. I'm hoping that no lives were lost in this scenario and this incidence of alleged food poisoning. Customs investigating female officer demanding 5,000 naira bribe at Lagos airport. Hey, I don't want to... This page 29 story, I mean, first of all, to applaud the Minister of Interior, a lot of work has been done. I visited the international airport yesterday. It's really beautiful. I mean, this upgrade is Osarogie. Don't worry, very soon, when New Central sponsors you to go and host...
It's the processes that, we must commend them for. You're making the process, a lot easier and faster. Yeah. Moving around in and out of Nigeria, getting an international passport, getting into the country, finding, even something as easy as valet services, or taxi hotels and things like that. Yeah. Those are the things that I think that need to be focused on. A fine airport is good, but how easy is it to go through immigration?
I mean, it's getting better. To be honest, I don't think that we should downplay the importance of the beautiful airport. Why I say this is because, if judging from what was there before, we were the first people that would always criticize them as soon as you're landing into Nigeria or you're checking out. You can't wait to get out of that premises because of how ugly it was, how bad it smelled, and how the process was just so disorganized. People always made videos of themselves abroad, and the moment they come back into Nigeria, it's like, oh, this depressing place. And the airport is like the branding of a country. The way that you judge a country is your first impression of the country is from the airport. So I don't think that we should minimize the importance of that very beautiful airport.
I don't actually, but if you have such hectic processes, of paperwork. For people to get in and out of Nigeria, nobody's going to see that airport that you're talking about.
I mean, it's getting better. Yeah, it's getting better. So this is just one step.
It's kudos to both ways.
Exactly, it's getting better. Even with the getting your passports right now is a lot more digitalized, such that once you put in your details, it automatically gives you a date for your appointment.
And I like that,
which is great.
And of course, I think Tunji Ojo, that's his name. I completely commend him for the steps that he's taken. And the beauty of it is it didn't take him 2 years.
In just a matter of months.
It feels like he already had this plan before.
And he ran.
Yeah.
He's the one that defines hit the ground running.
Yeah. So he will be criticized, where they fail, but for now, he should be commended for how far they've come.
And I'm really glad that this story has been highlighted about the customs officer demanding 5,000 naira. That is something that we're not unaware of that happens in our airports. You go to use the bathroom, you're afraid to go and use the bathroom because there's somebody standing at the entrance of the bathroom telling you, Auntie, how far now? I have tissue paper, or anything for the girls. So bribery, even as recent as yesterday when I went to the airport, there was a scenario that I saw that I don't know if I'm at liberty to share, but that is the scenario as is. A lot of people are just looking for how to extort and exploit people at the airport. And I'm hoping that that's something that will be looked into as well. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, we can see here, gunmen ambush Daewoo convoy, kill 4 soldiers, 2 drivers, and abduct 2 Koreans. Wow, that's not a good story. Resume payment of 35,000 naira wage award immediately, TUC asks federal government. Expresses worry over Nigeria's debt profile. Rivers High Court recognizes Ehie as speaker. At the top of the paper, Naira tumbles at official parallel markets. Federal government to unbundle TCN into 2 entities, says gas pricing in dollar impacting electricity tariff. And final story, which we concluded in the first half, Akeredolu begins medical leave today, transmits power to Aiyedatiwa. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, and of course, the federal government, I think the statement was made by Dele Alake, the Minister for Solid Minerals, that the powerful Nigerians are involved in illegal mining, funding banditry and terrorism. Okay. So what next?
Are we going to find out the names of these powerful Nigerians?
That's
Are they going
the
to
thing.
publish a list?
Because I remember that the Buhari administration multiple times talked about how influential Nigerians are sponsoring terrorism, and stuff, some of all that in the previous administration. Did anybody's name get called? And even when the UAE provided names of Nigerians, did any of them get arrested? So, okay, Dele Alake, what next?
Okay.
We'll see. Of course, let's see, how much the mining sector is also going to be improved upon. Let's move away from the Nigerian Tribune. See what our next paper is. The Guardian newspaper is coming up next. It says here, counterfeit drugs market booms amid staff shortage and poor funding. That's a very scary headline there, mostly because, we have also been speaking lately about the exit of international pharmaceutical companies from Nigeria and the possibility that that space will be filled by local pharmaceutical companies here in Nigeria. The fear of the influx of counterfeit drugs, the fear of the influx of fake drugs into the Nigerian market, the lack of trust that Nigerians have with NAFDAC to be able to checkmate the fake drug market. These are some of the things that we very likely would see. Nobody wants to keep buying Augmentin for 57,000 or 60,000 naira. What options will the Nigerian pharmaceutical industry be able to provide? Even if it's not Augmentin on that level, would there be, alternative, options? How easy will it be to fake these options? So these are genuine concerns that everybody should have at this point. They should understand. If you go across the marketplaces in Nigeria, you would see people who sell drugs. And I'm not talking about, chemists or pharmacy stores. I'm talking about people who are pushing some wheelbarrow-looking thing, on the road, and they're selling drugs. Nobody, needs to tell you that there's a possibility that 80% of the things that are being sold on that in that cart are fake. But people buy drugs from them because that's where they can afford to buy drugs. All right. Also on the Guardian this morning, 18 Osun pupils land in hospital after eating poisoned oatmeal. Federal government backtracks, admits powerful Nigerians are behind illegal mining and terrorism. Okay. Akeredolu transmits power to Aiyedatiwa, begins medical leave. And also Rivers Assembly crisis. Court gives Ihe's faction go-ahead to resume sitting. Army sacks brigade commander over Adamawa police headquarters invasion. And Israel-Hamas war, still a long way to a two-state solution and peace. Don't even get me started. Government to unbundle TCN, considers gas pricing in Nigeria. These are the big stories that we can find on the Guardian newspapers this morning. There's also very, very scary statistics or chart put on the front page of the Guardian. 267,000 deaths due to fake anti-malaria medicines. 169,271 killed by substandard antibiotics. 500,000 persons in Nigeria and SSA countries yearly. I think that sub-Saharan Africa countries die to inferior drugs.
I'm afraid,
500,000. Yes.
I'm afraid.
This is scary.
We actually should be afraid. We should be worried because people will die. This is not a situation of people being sick and you buy the medicine and it doesn't work. When you buy counterfeit drugs, people will die.
You're taking chalk sometimes.
Sometimes it's things that are even harmful to the body, that are toxic to the body. Right? So people will die as a result of counterfeit drugs. I don't know if we understand the gravity of problem we have on our hands.
I don't think we do.
I don't know that we do.
But it is NAFDAC that is, of course, putting out this message. It's saying the counterfeit drugs market booms amid staff shortage and poor funding. Okay, so, NAFDAC. Okay.
How do we then confirm which drug is original, which one is counterfeit?
So that is also responsibility of NAFDAC, right? So
what they do in some of this medication, what they do is they put this scratch pins that you can scratch, send the checks to somewhere to confirm. So I think now we need to double up on our two-factor authentication for every medication. We need to then discourage people from buying medicine from roadside people, from chemists and all that, because you cannot guarantee that what you're drinking is the actual thing. But this is only for the elite and the middle class. So
very true.
The people that will be hit the hardest by this are those in the rural areas, those at the bottom of the ladder, because they can't afford to go and buy from the pharmacies. I won't call their names.
Not
actually recognized pharmacies.
Very true. Not all of them also educated enough to, scratch,
scratch the pin and send a text.
Of course, send a text. So NAFDAC, putting out this message, I'm not sure why it is saying, or, this, or who it's, telling.
It needs to partner with the National Orientation Agency to make noise about this and make noise on their strategies to counter this. That's what we need to know. How exactly does NAFDAC... In fact, we should have someone from NAFDAC come on the show to talk to us about this. How do they, how do they plan to counter this? And how can Nigerians better protect themselves? I don't want to die because I have malaria. I want to be able to know that if I'm buying this malaria medication, this is what I'm buying, and it's treating that illness, not that it's further complicating issues and leading to one kidney issue or one liver issue somewhere.
Well,
anyway.
That's the stories that we can find on The Guardian this morning. We have, of course, the Daily Independent newspaper coming your way next. Let's see what we can find over there.
Let's look at the Daily Independent and see what the stories this morning are. On the Daily Independent, we see that to boost electricity supply, federal government plans to restructure transmission, admits that power privatization exercise is disappointing. And still on the front page, you have universal health coverage. Federal government plans to cut out-of-pocket spending of indigent Nigerians. Really? Okay, let's see how they plan to do that. That'd be great. Prominent Nigerians involved in illegal mining, funding, banditry, Alake alleges on page 7. Akeredolu starts fresh medical leave, transmits power to Ayedatiwa on page 7 as well. Mild drama as Senate lambasts minister over 1 billion naira for Geneva trip on page 7. Subsidy, TUC kicks over 35,000 wage award payment by installment. Lagos boasts of zero bank robbery 4 years in a row. That's true. I haven't taken note of that. I think that's something. We'll come back to that. Tinubu unveils ambitious healthcare plans for Nigeria. Asks Senate to confirm 19 nominees as NPC commissioners. At the top of the paper, court confirms Fubara's loyalist Ehe as Rivers Assembly Speaker. Airlines to start paying compensation on delayed, cancelled flights from January, says Keyamo. I'm sure you're excited about that, cancelled and delayed flights, but do you see this happening really from January?
I think it's enforcing it that's the challenge, because we've had the National Assembly give these rules before, make these statements before. I think they just failed to enforce it. There was a bill that was being pushed in the 9th National Assembly that of course ensured that airlines compensate passengers for things like that. But yes. I don't know how far it went if it was eventually passed.
Well, January is less than a month away, so we stick around to find out if the Minister of Aviation can be able to pull this off, because Nigerians will be, will be very, very grateful to see that this happens, that, the right thing is being done. But that's all that we can take. We'll bring more papers your way, same time tomorrow.